Hi, I'm Weeda Hamdan, and I'm a Lebanese American, and I live in Texas, USA. The theme of this collection is bare trees, and I focus really on trees when they've stripped from their leaves so that we can really see their intricacy and interconnectedness. The first one is this painting here. It's made in a monotype process, and the idea was to focus on trees because from a distance, I always see that they have a certain form and structure, but when you come close to them, they are full of surprises, and they have this majestic interlinking and interwoven branches inside them, and you always wonder whether it's made of chaos or order and if there's a mystery to them. So that has been really my quest for over a year right now, just trying to understand trees and their behavior and what makes them so unique and what really attracts us as people to nature. Why do we find ourselves in such comfort in their cradle? So that's really my quest on understanding what is it about them, what's their mysticism. With that being said, this is a tree that is a Native American tree. It's called bois d'arc, and it's the arching wood. Native Americans used it to create their tools, their bow and arrow, and it has a massive seed. They call it a horse apple. And this seed, they use it to repel mosquitoes. So Native Americans and our ancient ancestry have really become one with nature, and we're able to live with nature and coexist with nature. And this is where I feel it's a reflection on I am you in the exhibit here, the theme of the exhibit. The monotype in this painting was done I used a commercial large board. It's a construction material that I carved using a Dremel in little pieces, and I would carve in different stages so I can create that perspective and the depth and the forwardness of the work. Every time I would carve it and put my paint on it and flip it over, there's always that surprise factor, and it makes me feel that I have zero expectation as what's going to show up, and it was always something so magnificent. Again, I keep thinking about how much we as people have so much expectation of ourselves, and what does that do to our mental health? How does that make us feel? And how much do we leave for spontaneity and for accidents, and we are okay with accidents versus judgment? In this piece here, I really went into the forest. This is the forest in my backyard. And what I love about this place here is because it's a network of trees living together. And again, the trees have so much secrecy that we don't really understand them. There's so much research done on them, but they can't live and survive on their own. And I think humanity sometimes just plants one tree and thinks that it's going to do so well on its own, but it's a network and it's a community that live together. Especially what we don't see is what's happening underground with all the root system and how they coexist with fungi, because fungi can deliver all the nutrition and the water to different trees, and we don't see that. And then it just makes you wonder that they cannot survive on their own. Can we survive on our own? Do we need each other? Do we need a community? And how are we like nature? And how much is nature like us? And that's really the dialogue that goes in my head every time I'm working with trees. And in this one, I wanted to really bring the forest alive by crumpling it up, and where you feel like you're walking into it, and there's that resonance, the sound, the rustling of the leaves, the wind, and it's really come alive in this instance here. And again, it's autumn. Everything is nothing's permanent, ever changing, and I felt this portrayed that really well. On those pieces here, if you noticed, I went into one big tree, I went into a forest, and now I really want to go zoom into the tree. And I felt that I wanted to understand it even more. So I went inside the tree to see how are those branches allowing space for each other? Like, how come they don't block each other? And again, I keep thinking about, what does humanity do to each other? Do we block? Do we allow? Do we collaborate? Do we coordinate? Do we support each other? And this is where I see them supporting. And when you look up a tree, there's never one that is blocking each other. Again, the parallel with humanity. How can we learn from nature that we've really moved away from her? Can we come back and coalesce with her? And on this one here, it's towards the end of the branches. This is the same tree, bois d'arc. And what it does is evolved, where it creates that that curve to allow the wind to flow under. So then again, there's that, there's no resistance, but then there's allowance. Again here where the wind would go in and doesn't allow breakage. So there's strength, but again, existing with nature. And those other branches here portrayed in a feathery way, and they're magically intertwined. Yet there's so much order and pattern, and there's so much math, and there's fractals. The fractals is really magnifying of a pattern that's being repeated, as you magnify into each other. It just repeats and repeats, and that's what trees do. And I think this is what we do as people as well in humanity. And the biggest question is, how can we coexist with nature, and how can we go back to the wilderness, go back to nature, so that we can find ourselves and be happier? Because studies show that when you are in nature, your stress level is reduced by 60%. So that's a lot, and I feel maybe it's time we break away from these walls and spend more time outside and connect with nature even more. Thank you.